The moment I stepped onto the yacht, I felt it, the air thick with anticipation, the scent of polished teak, champagne, and salt from the ocean blending into something intoxicating. And then I saw her. She was standing at the bow, golden sunset painting her hair with fire, her posture impossibly confident, every inch of her commanding attention without even trying. The billionaire's niece, everyone whispered, untouchable, magnetic. And my heart did something wild. Something I had never let it do before. Have you ever seen someone across a crowd, or in this case, across an endless stretch of polished deck, and felt that undeniable pull, that silent warning that nothing would ever be the same if you let it happen? That was her. And I did. Let it happen. The first 30 seconds were chaos in slow motion. My pulse racing, palms clammy against my dress. She looked directly at me, and in that instant, everything else dissolved. The sunset, the waves, the distant city lights, they all became background noise. My name was on her lips before we even spoke, though in silence. And when her gaze met mine, it was bold, piercing, commanding. My knees nearly buckled, but I held my ground. Something in me knew I couldn't look away. I didn't want to. "You're staring," she said finally, her voice low, playful, yet carrying an undertone I couldn't ignore. Confident, dominant, dangerous. My stomach fluttered. I wasn't. I stopped. How could I explain that my entire body had already betrayed me? That every inch of me wanted her in ways I had never admitted even to myself? She laughed, a soft, melodic sound, like the promise of mischief. "I can tell," she said, stepping closer, each movement deliberate, measured, yet teasing. The air between us seemed to crackle, electric and impossible to ignore. I was captured in her orbit, entirely, without a word exchanged. That's when it happened. She leaned in, and I felt the brush of her lips against mine, tentative at first, a spark that ignited an inferno. 1 second, the ocean and sunset existed. The next, nothing existed but her. Her hand found mine, fingers curling with a bold, confident grip. She didn't wait for permission, she never did. I didn't want her to. Minutes, or maybe hours, passed in that golden haze as we explored the deck, laughter mingling with the whisper of waves against the yacht hull. Her touch was both commanding and tender, teasing and possessive. She guided me to the bow, letting the wind whip our hair around, the sea stretching endlessly before us. I leaned into her, heart hammering, my body craving her dominance and care simultaneously. She drew me close again, fingers trailing along my arm, and whispered, "Do you trust me?" I swallowed hard, knowing the answer. "Yes," I breathed. That one word was all she needed. She leaned in, kissing me again. Longer this time, claiming, deep, a taste of bold desire mingled with tenderness. I felt myself melt against her, surrendering entirely, letting her take the lead in a way that left me trembling, wanting, aching. The sunset faded slowly, replaced by the silver glow of moonlight and scattered deck lights. She led me inside, through sleek hallways lined with polished wood and golden ambient lighting. Every step we took was a dance of tension, the proximity of our bodies setting sparks along my nerves. She brushed a hand against my cheek, her lips grazing mine just enough to leave me breathless and dizzy. When we reached the private lounge, she pressed me gently against the soft leather of a chaise, her eyes dark with intensity. The air was heavy with our unspoken desires. "Do you like being claimed?" she asked softly, her dominant tone cutting through the space between us. My breath hitched. "Yes," I admitted, voice trembling but honest. Every part of me had been craving her control, her bold confidence, her attention. The night unfolded like a dream, or maybe a fever. Her hands, precise and daring, traced lines across my arms, shoulders, and back. Every brush of her fingers was a promise, every lingering gaze a command. I followed her lead without hesitation, losing all control willingly because it felt safer, sweeter, and more intoxicating than anything I had known. We slipped onto the observation deck, the ocean stretching endlessly in darkness. Moonlight painted her in silver, highlighting the elegance of her black evening gown, the dominance in her posture, and the softness in her touch. I leaned into her, my hands tentative, exploring, responding to every flicker of command she sent my way. Our breaths mingled with the ocean wind, hearts sinking in a rhythm that was both daring and tender. She leaned down and whispered in my ear, a thrill running down my spine. "The night isn't over yet." And it wasn't. We moved across the yacht, from balcony to hallway, laughter and whispers following us like shadows. Every glance, every touch, every subtle command kept the tension high, the desire raw, yet still sweet, romantic, and intimate. By the time we arrived at the rooftop terrace, the city lights glimmering far below, the intimacy had escalated. She pulled me close against the glass railing, her hand steady on my waist. I could feel her dominance radiating through her every move, commanding yet caring. The city stretched below, oblivious to the storm of passion and affection unfolding above it. She kissed me again, slow and deliberate, and I felt the world shrink to just the two of us. I wanted to tell her everything I felt, wanted, and feared, but words failed me. She seemed to read me perfectly, tracing her fingers along my jawline, tilting my head back, and holding me as if the world beyond the yacht had ceased to exist. Hours passed, or maybe minutes, but every moment was sharp, vivid, unforgettable. She guided me back inside, the luxury of the yacht around us, yet nothing mattered beyond her touch, her gaze, her presence. The private suite welcomed us, soft golden light falling across our faces. She leaned in, and the kiss this time carried all the boldness, intimacy, and care she had withheld until now. Every inch of me responded, surrendering entirely, trusting her completely. By dawn, the horizon painted with the first blush of sunlight, I realized I had been changed. The billionaire's niece, bold, commanding, and impossible to resist, had carved her presence into me in ways I would never forget. Not just a kiss, not just a night, but the promise of countless moments, daring, tender, intimate, and wild, together. And I wouldn't have it any other way.